Hello, everyone. I'm Matthew Allen, and welcome back to What a Thought, episode 34. Oh boy, it just keeps going. It's very goofy to think about. There's only at max 2 to 3 of these that release every month. If the month has 5 Mondays, then I think there's one more. I don't know. I think that causes it to alternate. So then every other time there's 5 Mondays. This one has 3 episodes, or the other one has 3 episodes, and it always just depends. But I need you to know that I started. I went to go hit start, right? I was like, all right, I'm gonna start recording. I was setting up. I was like, okay, here's the track line. Here's the image line because I have to. I use Reaper to record the podcast and What a Book because it's a sound editing program. It's the best item for me to use for me and my budgetless existence. And I just started singing Motown Philly. I don't know why. It occurred, and I thought it was hilarious. I was just Motown Philly back again. Because apparently I can only exist in every decade except the current one. And then I stupidly was like, what a thought is back again. And I just needed to make sure that all of you got to hear that nonsense leave my mouth. Because, oh Lord, that is some nonsense. And it's coming right from the mouth of the mule. So, right out of the gate, I gotta talk about, obviously, the big news that has occurred since the last time we were present for a podcast. Queen Elizabeth II has died. She died 10 days ago as of recording this, 11 days ago as of when you guys get to hear this, since this comes out on Mondays. I record on Sunday. Gotta make sure I can give you the most up-to-date information, and that is information that is as up-to-date until I record. But Queen Elizabeth II has passed away, which surprised apparently everyone. I don't know why they thought she was going to live forever. She wasn't. But yeah, obviously, many people have taken very different routes and thoughts on mourning or not mourning the Queen. AKA, if you were a British person, you mourned her, and if you were everyone else, you danced on her grave, apparently, because that seems to be the case with everyone else. They did not like the Queen. Obviously, most people don't like the monarchy, and by that I mean most people who lived in a nation that was under monarchy control back in the olden times, as in I think up till some point in the last 100 years. And I know that it's been an interesting time because some people on the internet, they feel conflicted. Like, they see the memes, they see the people talking about it, and they're like, these are funny, but a person has died. And yes, a human being did indeed die, but also there are plenty of people that are justly happy to see another member of the royal family go, especially one that was around for some of the final stretches of things that occurred for other nations. Now, obviously, I'm an American. I have no thoughts, gives, or buts for the royal family or for Britain. All of my family before me is from an island nation that was once under British control. I have no idea what their thoughts are. I'm sure, based on parts of things I've heard from just news outlets, that it is very different from how Britain's doing it, and each their own. That's all I have to say. She lived a long time. Her son, Charles, right? Is that his name? Is now the king? I don't know. I don't remember who's the king now. I'm not going to Google it. I don't care. I do not care. I just wanted to make sure it was brought up and acknowledged that the queen did that. And if somehow you didn't know that, 11 days later, I'm glad to know that you lived under a rock except for me. You lived under a rock except to listen to me. You wanted to, you just like hearing it from my mouth. What in the world? Oh, I had cereal. I was like, what's going on in my throat? And then I was like, oh, right. I had cereal. Yeah. So continuing down the list of things in the What a Thought bracket, because I did write down like a solid collection of small things. Uh, it's mainly just little topics, things that have come up across my mind. I thought were a little worth mentioning or like needed to be talked about. Right, sitting down here at the bottom of the list, I was walking on campus. Right, if you don't know, I'm a college student. I go to college. I attend classes on campus. I did just smack my desk on accident. And I passed by some man was just set up with his table of books. And as most people know, if there's a human being just set up with a table of books on a college campus, right? They're trying to sell you something. They're always going to try to sell you something. The only time that person is not trying to sell you something and they have a table of books is because they're inside the building, because there's something affiliated with the college and they're allowed to be there. And that's always the main difference is like, is this person allowed to be here or not? Obviously if they're outside, they can be on campus, they can't be in a building, and doing the thing that they do. Otherwise it's a whole swath of bad things that could occur, right? So he's out there, he's got his books. He's like, you want this book? That's a horribly racist accent that came out of my mouth, but that was his accent. And I was like, nope, don't want the book. And he was like, no, it's for yoga, to free the mind. And I was like, nope, I'm good. All right, and he put the book in my hand. And I was like, okay, it's going to be one of these days, eh? He put the book in my hand and then put another book in my hand. And I was like, I don't have the room for this in my small backpack because I have not a sling backpack. It's like a sling backpack. It's like one strapped. It is the size of my notebook. Like, it is the size of the notebook inside the backpack. It is small. It can't hold these massive books that he's trying to hand me, and I walk home. I walk back to the space, which I exist upon every other day when I'm not in class. I can't carry this nonsense. So he's like, no, you take it. And I was like, no, don't want to take these. And he's like, they're free. Right? That was the start of his sentence. They're free. But most people like to give a kind donation. And I was like, I do not have any money to give you. He was like, no, it can be Cash App, Venmo, anything. And I was like, I do not have money to give you. And he took the books back from my hand and was like, well, you have a good day, sir. And I was like, what? What kind of nonsense? The book is free, but people like to give a kind donation. I cannot do that. Oh, well, I'm just going to fucking yoink. And he took the book back. I didn't want the book. There is no world where I wanted the book. I need to make that clear. I didn't want the book. But it was just so funny to me that this man just yoink. He just took it. I was like, he just took it back after making sure to state his stupidness, which was, oh, it's free. And then being like, oh, well, make a nice donation. That'd be very kind. Now I'm making him sound Russian. I didn't mean to do that. He's not Russian. And I was just like, what kind of scheme is that? Here are these books I'm going to place in your hand after you tell me you don't want them. And then tell you they're free. And then say, but you can make a nice donation, And then when you say no, take the books back. I want to run into that guy again. I really do, right? Because obviously, it's him trying to work around the fact that I don't think you can solicit on college campuses, can you? I don't think that's the right word. I forget what the word solicit means. I need the definition. Okay, so to solicit is to ask for or try to obtain something from someone. That's what to solicit means. AKA, you see someone and you're trying to garner something from them. Either you ask for it or you just try to get it. In this instance, that would be soliciting, trying to get the money in exchange for these books that no one wants. But I don't know if you can solicit on a college campus. That is the question. Can you solicit on college campuses? Oh, someone's Googled this before. No, there's a bunch of different articles for different colleges. Most of the ones I'm seeing here about all these different, like, it kind of changes from college to college, but there just seems to be that solicitation on college grounds is not allowed, which makes a lot of sense. I'm like, that doesn't seem like it'd be something that would be able to just slide real easily. So that's probably his workaround, as I stated. Like, let me ask you for a donation for these books that I'm so kindly giving to you for free. But that's also so stupid. Who do you think that's gonna work on a college campus? Like, hey man, unless they already desperately wanted a copy of that book and they couldn't find it in their local Barnes and Nobles, which we do have one nearby, within walking distance. Like, if they weren't intending to go get it there from a reputable source, I don't think they were gonna get it from you. And they were especially not gonna Venmo you that money, man. Like, it's one thing if someone pops out $1 and hands it off to that person, but like, Venmo, Cash App, the issue with that is it opens up a two-way street, right? You send it to them, you send them the money, and then they have the access because you sent the money and they had to accept it to like see you and like try to request more money from you and nonsense until you have to like block them. And I wouldn't want that. I would just not want that person to be able to have the access to that sort of information because that's my information. I wouldn't want people just willy-nilly freely being able to witness that. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And so I wrote it down and I was like, this needs to be talked about. I was like, I just, stupid. That was stupid. Yep. Those are the words that I meant to say. If you can't tell, my brain is always fried. No matter what point in the day I decide to come and record this, it just disappears. There are no thoughts, right? All right, next topic. I wanted to have a co-host this episode, right? I think I mentioned it 2 weeks ago, and it's been getting brought up more and more from like the people around me to be like, you should have someone come on, like you should have a guest on the podcast. And I'm like, well, I mean, I can. I would like to. But the issue is that other people always have something crop up that keeps them from being able to join me in doing this. Like, you know, I was going to have my good friend Luke. If you watched the other YouTube channel where I post my video games, if you checked out the Solos YouTube channel, Luke was in Co-op Summer with me. He did Gears of War 2 and was very much traumatized and very much still holds that one against me for making him play that, and I think it's hilarious because I'm evil. No. But I wanted to have him on. I was like, okay, this would be interesting. Have him come down. Maybe he's got some topics of his own. I still don't know how I would do having someone else present for these moments, because you know it's very linear. A lot of these things are things people bring up to me or things I bring up to myself or occur to me, and then I talk about them. And it'd be interesting to get someone else's opinion on this. Maybe they have something differing or not, but things came up that made it so that Luke was not available for about, I don't know, 8 hours, between 6 to 8 hours of the day today. And I was like, well, I can't wait around. I was like, I can't just sit back and do everything else I have to do and hope that you not only can do this, but that you want to. Because that's not how this is going to work. I was like, I have things to get around and do, and I'm sure you do too. So this isn't going to happen. And that's okay. It occurs. But I do, don't, you know, I know some people might think maybe he doesn't want someone down there. Maybe he doesn't want a co-host for an episode or something. But I would love that. I would love to have people that, like, want to come on and, like, talk about things, right? It'd be cool. I'm sure people would like it. It would also maybe help fill the 30 minutes a little faster. Because, you know, as I stated last time, I was going to stick to, like, 30 minutes for What a Thought, unless I think otherwise. But as of now, I think 30 minutes is probably the better length for these videos. It's a good half hour. There isn't too much filler. It's more succinct. It's right to the point. Until I do things like this, where I accidentally go on a little tangent about the podcast itself. What was the next thing? Oh, right. Y'all, what does a mummy do? I'm gonna Google it in a second, and we're gonna kind of learn together. But I've never thought about that, like what a mummy does. Because when you look at like the other creatures of horror, like zombies want to eat your brains or your flesh, depending on what type of zombie it is. Werewolves want to eat you, just in general. Vampires want your blood, and Frankenstein just wants to be loved and accepted. But like, what does the mummy do? Now, obviously, if you look at like I don't know, Brendan Fraser's The Mummy, that mummy is trying to like bring himself back to life, and he's got like magic powers and stuff, and it's a whole thing. So like, I know what that mummy does, but like, what do other mummies do? I feel like the only other mummies in my head that I can think of is the what is the thing? It's a Disney movie, and they like bring this mummy, and it comes to life, and it's with this like boy, and they're trying to figure out what he wants, and it turns out that he's got like a mummy wife, and it's over in like a, what do you call it? It's over in a she's like over in a museum, and he just wants to be reunited with his mummy wife, and it's like it's supposed to be like cute, but they don't. Like what does a zombie do? Not a zombie. What does a mummy do when it gets to you? That's the question. Does it just beat you up? Because most mummies don't have the same like magical nonsense that was that Emotep had from from the Mummy movie. I need to double check that is the name of that mummy is Emotep. Do. High Priest Emotep. Yeah, I was correct. I just lost some of my beard. Who else was in this movie? Anyone else of importance? Jonathan Hyde. Yeah. Stephen Dunham. That's a familiar face. Oh, because he was in Monster-in-Law? Monster-in-Law. Awful movie. I despise that movie. I've opened up a Wikipedia page on mummies, and I'm hoping I get something. Nope. Okay, that's the mummy's curse thing. Is it just like the mummy's curse? What is the mummy's curse? Oop. No. Not the movie. Not the old Universal movie, which I didn't know was a thing. What is the mummy's curse? Curse of the Pharaohs? Is that a different thing? Okay. Alleged to be cast upon anyone who disturbs the mummy of an ancient Egyptian, especially Pharaoh. The curse, which does not differentiate between thieves and archaeologists, is claimed to cause bad luck, illness, or death. Is that it? That still doesn't explain what like a resurrected mummy does. Because in other words, I think mummies, unless it's High Priest Emotep from the Mummy movie, they're just beating you up. You're just a collection of bandages and bones is just gonna rattle towards you and then just curb stomp your ass. And I think that's goddamn hilarious. Wouldn't that be funny to witness? You're just going down like the street doing your thing, and then a mummy just slow shuffles to you with his toilet paper wrapping, and then he just beats your ass like just like if any random person had just walked up to you on the street, but instead it's like King Tut. Not King Tut, he was small. One of the other pharaohs that was before the inbreeding got bad. Like one of them. And they just beat you up. That'd be so goofy. I just got sent a stupid message in the middle of me talking. That's the issue with me writing all my notes on my phone. Sometimes I see a notification and I'm just like, yeah, I've got to take a gander at this, see what it's about. And then it's the stupidest thing my eyeballs could ever lay upon. And I love it. Anywho, mummies. What are you going to do with them? What are you going to do without them? I think mummies could be cooler. I think... not to suddenly, like, slander mummies or something, but I think all mummies should be kind of capable of what, like, Imhotep did in the first Mummy movie. Now, I'm going to explain, obviously. I'm not that mean. But if you've never seen the first Mummy movie, the whole thing is that Imhotep, he was turned into a mummy, and I don't remember what process allowed him to, like, come back to life. But essentially, he's able to be brought back. And it's, I don't know, before the Nazis, before the Nazis. We're in, like, the 1930s. We're in Egypt. And in order to, like, come back and look human, he's got to, like, absorb people, kind of, right? He takes them, he, like, sucks them in, and it, like, he uses it to build up more of his, like, frame. So, like, when that mummy starts out in the movie, it's like a good old dried up mummy, and slowly it comes to look more like the actor that's playing Imhotep, which is a cool process. Now, obviously, that mummy is able to do a bunch of other random nonsense, because there's also a scene where he controls sand. What was it? He controls sand, and he makes a giant sand face and tries to swallow the plane that has the main characters in it. And it's a whole thing. Right? Sorry, thinking about the Brendan Fraser Mummy movie is not the thoughts I thought I was going to have to go through today, but I did forget the things that were written in my notes until I looked at them. So, like, outside of being able to do that extra magical nonsense, I think if you pulled the other things, that would be cool. Or even if it's, like, say, if he regains, like, the full human form that he had from, like, sucking up all the souls. Not the souls, sucking up all the people. That he, like, gains mystical powers or something. Like, okay, I'd be able to take that. But, like, until then, I feel like he'd be able to be defeated by regular means, or maybe they need magical means, or maybe it's one of those situations where, like, Imhotep has to make himself whole again, so then they can just shoot him in the heart or something, or I don't know, drop a nuke on him. Do whatever you want to do, but, like, we need to establish some mummy rules. All right, there need to be rules for mummies going forward. Like, they show up in media, but all they do is just, I don't know, choke a fool out. That is the only mummy with power. Is Imhotep. I think all mummies should be able to just suck up a fool in order to, like, slowly regain looking like a person, right? That seems like a good one to establish, right? That's their number one goal, is to make themselves look like a person again. And we can say that the end goal in making themselves look like a person is they gain mystical powers to, like, rule the world or something, okay? This is how we save Tom Cruise's The Mummy that just nosedived Universal's attempt at a big old movie franchise. I can't believe they tried to do that. I had to respond to something. Anywho, like, so yeah, he can suck up the fools to gain back all the, like, bits and bobs and pieces, right? And then once he does, he gets all the mystical power, right? I think a mummy should very much be able to be destroyed at any moment. Otherwise, I feel like the heroes would never stand a chance. Okay, I think the mummy's got to be able to be destroyed at any point in order to be defeated, or else you've made a bad mummy. And then I think that what's the other thing? I think when he's gotten all, like, mystical out and whatnot, like, if he's managed to get all the fools and he's got all the magical strength, he's got to be defeated with, like, something piercing his heart. You know, maybe he's got to be defeated by sword or something specific. I'm gonna make these rules, okay? I'm gonna do it. I think that we can do it. I think that we can do it. We can make the rules for the mummy and make something cool again. You know? Same way they did for the werewolf. Most of the stuff that we know for like werewolf lore comes from the original The Wolfman in the like, what is it, 1930s? I don't remember when the original Wolfman came out. But all his stuff about like transforming under the, well, okay, they said the full moon, which would be terrible, and then we changed it to a full moon so that it was less often. But like the transformation, the silver bullet stuff, like all of that jazz, all of it came from that movie. And I think, I'm just saying, we could do that for mummies, right? I know some of you out there are probably with me on this nonsense, that we can do it for mummies. And I think we should. I think mummies deserve to be in the same pantheon of existence and fame as the rest of its counterparts, okay? There's always going to be 1,000 Draculas, but everyone knows how to defeat Dracula. Everyone knows what Dracula can do. They're like, Dracula can turn into a bat. Alright, Dracula can fly off, okay? He can suck your blood. He can hypnotize you. There's all the things that Dracula is able to do. And you're like, yep, that's Dracula. And then the Wolfman, you're like, alright, he can transform on the full moon. You gotta defeat him with silver. Or something silver tipped. You know, things like that. And you're like, okay, yeah. And then like you've got your zombies, and it's like it's gotta be a shot to the brain, you know, you gotta destroy the brain. Or else they'll eat your flesh, and if they bite you, you'll transform. And if a werewolf bites you, you'll transform. And if a vampire bites you and you don't die, you'll transform. You know, Mummy obviously isn't gonna bite you and transform you. He just wants your blood. He wants your bones and your flesh and your muscle and all the everything else that comprises a human being, and not just the 60% made of water. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying no more, but all I do know is that I am now determined to go create a mummy. A good mummy lore. Like, that's the way to do it. Okay? I think it can be done, and it'll be great. And I know there are people out here who are with me, alright? That aren't Tom Cruise. Alright? I know there are other folk that'll be on board for this idea. What? Why am I yawning? It's 2:30 in the afternoon. There's no reason to be yawning. I made it through, what, like 3 topics? Oh, God, that's so wonderful. That's so wonderfully goofy. Anyways, I'm gonna, yeah. I'm gonna go make a mummy movie now. But this has pretty much been the What I Thought podcast. We're basically at the end. There's not much more I could say. I will tell you guys there's a beautiful face mask that apparently looks like a unicorn sitting on my desk that was given to me a while ago, and I just kept refusing to use it, but it has been ousted to the fact that I haven't used it yet. So now the person who gave it to me knows, so now I have to. So I'm gonna use it after I finish cleaning this living space. And then I'm gonna eat this boob lollipop I've been gifted. I was given a lollipop, and it is a boob. It has a nipple and everything, and I think that's hilarious. Okay? It's absolutely scrumdiddlyumptiously hilarious. And apparently it was extra expensive. It's extra thick. Here, if you want to know how thick this is me hitting it on the table. Yeah. That's a big boob. Oh, God, that's so goofy. What else? What other things? But yeah, no, that's that. Make sure to check out the Linktree link down below. If you follow it, you'll be able to find my social media. In that social media is Instagram and Twitter. That's it. It's the only things I've got for all the stuff I do. And you can also, if you feel so inclined, because I'm just so cool. I'm just so cool. You can also check out the other YouTube channel, which I play video games. I put a video up every single day. It's crazy. You could also check out the Twitch. I stream on the weekends. That's pretty much what it looks like right now. But yeah, thank you guys so much I've been Matthew Allen. This has been the What I Thought podcast, and I'll see all of you when I see ya.